Hello, hello, this is Brittany, and I am so excited to hand off your Squarespace site to you. I know that a really important part of having your website is being able to go in and edit copy, upload blogs, do all of the things that you want to keep your site updated. So today I'm going to walk you through how to manage the back end of your website, how to add pages, how to put blogs up, and I'll even give you some tips like image sizes and what to do for basic SEO. So let's get started. When you log into Squarespace, you're going to come to a page like this. This is just the Squarespace homepage. Your account is going to be up here. So you'll see your picture, you can click here, and it'll give you some different options. We're going to go to websites. And it will pull up any website that you're a part of or working on. And I'm going to show you guys some stuff on this site today. Awesome. So once you're in this, you are in the back-end editing portion of your website. On the left-hand side, you're going to see that there's different categories that you can go into. Anything that you need to be able to change or manage your site or do maintenance, any sort of settings are all going to be on this left-hand navigation panel. The first one of these that we're going to go into is pages. This is where you edit the actual content of your website. So that's things like new pages that you want to add, or images, copy, anything like that. It's going to be in pages. On the left-hand side, you're going to have a couple different sections. This might vary from template to template that is used, but basically it's going to be the same. You're going to have a section for your primary navigation. Any pages that are here are going to show up in your primary navigation area. So unless you want to change what you have for your navigation, I would kind of just not really move anything around in there and leave it as is. Secondary navigation, that shows up right here. And again, this might be different from site to site, but this is basically what it's going to be. So if you move subscribe out of there, you're going to see that it disappears from navigation. So if it's already set up, you want to just leave things where they are. Down here is going to be your footer navigation. So any pages that are saved here are going to show up here in your footer navigation. The last area that you have are pages that are not linked. So these are pages that don't show up here and they don't show up in your footer navigation, but they're still an important part of your website. These pages might be linked through a button or made into a hyperlink that can go directly to it. It's just a page that is not going to show up directly in your navigation. All right, I want to show you how you're going to add a page. Anytime you need to add something, you're going to go click on this plus sign. If you want to add it in the footer, say you need to add a terms and conditions pages, you would click the button. Then Squarespace brings up different layouts for you. You can choose to use one of their layouts, or you can choose to add a blank page. We will just go ahead and make this an about page template. You can see they give you a couple more options there. We're going to title this Terms and Conditions. So you can see that brings up a blank page. If we want to edit something on this page, you hover over it and hit edit. Anywhere that you have type, you can click right into it and change what that says. You can click on another section, so you want to add an image, you can click here, pick any image to add. Down here, again, you can edit the type as well. If you notice, each of these elements is made up of a square. Squarespace kind of works on a grid, and each element that you put, each bit of content, whether it's copy or an image, is contained within a little box. Each one of these boxes is able to be moved. And you can see if you grab something and move it around while holding your mouse down, you can select where it goes. If you want to add something that's not already there, so say, man, I really, instead of editing all of this, I want to add a calendar to this page, and I want to add it right here below my social icons. Anywhere that you are able to add another element to your page will show up with this little gray teardrop shape. You can click that and it will give you options on what you want to insert there. When you go to insert a piece of content, it's going to give you different options to choose from. So these are the basic ones. You can add an image, you can add a quote, text, spacer, whatever you need right there. Also different galleries that you can use to show off your images, and different summaries. So you could list a summary of all the different blogs with the same topic. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. You can also add different forms, newsletter sign up, map. Let's see what else here. You can add different charts, you can add social blocks, and if you have premium, you can add things like a menu or Amazon links, a place to do donations. We're just going to add a calendar in here so I can show you what it looks like. So for each piece of content that you want to insert on the page, it will bring up a window that has different details for that specific block of content. So for this, it's a calendar that's going to be displaying events, blog posts, things like that. If you had an events page, it would be listed here as well, and you would just select it, hit apply, and it would list all of the events from your event page on this calendar. If you get into something and you decide, hey, I actually don't want that on that page, you can just hit the trash icon and remove it. One thing to know about editing images, if you're going to be adding images to your site or swapping images out, there are a couple things that you need to know to make your site function as efficiently as possible. So if we want to add this, click Add Image. I am just going to pick a random image that I have pulled up, some of my headshots that I was working with earlier today. All right, so it'll insert the image. We can click Edit here. And we have a couple different options for what we can do. One thing to keep in mind is that the file name is really important for your SEO. Say you're a yoga studio in Kansas City and you want to make sure that you're showing up on Google when people search for you. You might do something with your file name like Yoga Studios in Kansas City, and put your business name and leave it at that. You're going to want to use a file name that would get you found if people were searching for you. So say that you're a stylist in Kansas City who specializes in curly hair. You would say best curly hair stylists in Kansas City. Just keep that in mind. And on each page that it's on, you can tailor that file name to the page. So say it's your yoga studio, but it's your staff bios. You might put something in with the file name, best yogis in Kansas City or something like that. Keep in mind, one thing that you need to do is instead of spaces, put dashes. That's what Google uses in terms of spaces. So if you string it all together as one word, Google's not going to understand that. If you use actual spaces, Google's not going to understand that. So make sure that you're adding dashes in between your words. Another thing that you can do is actually edit your image. So say you need to crop it a little bit different way than it is. Say I want this square. You can crop things You can adjust the brightness. Say I wanted this to be a little bit brighter. You can do all of that right in here. I would keep in mind that if you do that, then that of course alters the image from what you have saved on your computer. So it is best to go ahead and do adjustments like that before you upload it onto Squarespace. But if you need to make little quick adjustments, you can definitely do that in the page editing. All right, now you can see it's a nice square there. One last thing on images is that you want to pay attention to the image size. So this one is 902 kilobytes. That is gigantic. You want to make sure your images are under 500 kilobytes. And really making them as small as possible is going to be best. The faster your page loads, the quicker Google can access the information and the better your SEO is going to be. If you have huge images that take a long time for page loading, then you're not going to rank as high in your SEO as you could. So keep those image sizes below 500 kilobytes and really make them as low as possible. 500 is the max that they should be. When you're editing copy on pages, you have a couple options for how that shows up on your page. This is going to be the first heading, and you'll have all of these preloaded into Squarespace, so you don't have to mess around with font sizes or anything like that. So this is on heading 1. That's what you're going to use for your bigger page titles. You have heading 2, so that's something that's going to be a little bit smaller, but still a little bit different than your regular body copy. Have a heading 3, even smaller. So this might be something that you use like under pictures as a call out of what that picture is or more explanation. And you have normal. This would be your normal body copy that you're going to write your paragraphs in. You can see a good example of that here where this is all body copy and this is that heading 3. It just adds some differentiation and helps break up blocks of text. You want to have the bulk of your copy be in the normal font and then separate that with your heading 3s. When you need more of a break to parts of copy that you have, you would go with 2. And like I said, the heading 1 should be reserved for your biggest things like page titles. The next thing that I want to go over is your blog. When you pull up your blog page, it's going to look like this. This is where you actually insert all of your different blog posts, and then this is the page where it shows you everything that you've done. Adding a new blog post is really simple. You're just going to click up here, enter in your post title, enter in your blog information. You can enter tags and categories here. So let's have this one be food. Category is food. And we'll put a food tag in here as well because I want to show you guys something you can do with this later. So once you have your blog content actually put in, you can go over to options and add a thumbnail image. This image, see them publish, is what shows up here. So like this is the thumbnail image for this blog post. So we didn't put one in, so this one doesn't have one. Let's pull it back up. That's where you would add your thumbnail image. You can also change authors here if you have multiple people, and you're going to add an excerpt here that is just, you know, a 1-sentence pull from your blog that gets people's interest. If this is a really big deal post and you want to make it a featured post, you can do that right here. You just select that on and you can feature it in different places on your website. For SEO, you can do different titles and descriptions if you want to add more keywords into how your blog shows up in search results. You can also put in a specific social preview for this. It's like the thumbnail, but this is what would show up when you're sharing the blog post on social channels. You can share this post as an email, you can connect your social accounts and share it that way, and you can put in location if you need to do that. So everything that you need to edit your post is going to be right in this window that pulls up when you hit edit or when you add a new blog post. If you get into your post, see, we didn't really add anything here, but say on this you wanted to change an image or add something in this. If you go to that post specifically, instead of being on your main blog page, go into a specific post and you can edit this just like you would a page. So we can click here, we can add some text if we need to. You can hit edit, you can swap out this image, add file names. If you're like, oh man, I really would like this to be broken up a little bit, you can go in and change headlines. You can do that all just like you would on a page. You can also have drafts for blog posts. You can schedule them out to appear at a certain time. You really have a lot of awesome options right here in blog. We're going to go back to the home page and I'm going to show you how you can group different things, different blog posts by category to feature on your home page. So I have this one put in here. For this section, again, just hover over it. We're going to click edit. And this here is a summary block. So when you add a summary block to your site, it will pull different things from different parts of your site. Like if we had an events page, this would be listed as blog or events that you could pick from. We just have the blog, so we're going to hit blog. For layout, you can choose how it lists these different things. So you pick the design that you need to for that. You can change the text size. You can say how many items you want per row. You have a lot of options here for what it looks like. So in display, this is where we can choose what shows up in this summary block. So you see I made a category earlier for food. If we put food in here, it will show all blog posts that have the category food. So if you're having different sections you want, you can definitely do that using categories. You can do the same things with tags as well. So we put food in here. I had put this one in earlier. You can also make this so it only shows featured posts. So anything that was marked as a featured post when you created the blog post will show up for featured posts. That summary block for blog posts is a really great feature for Squarespace if you want to do like different categories of your blog right on your homepage. If you have like lifestyle, fashion, food, whatever, you can divide that up so people can get to the different sections pretty quickly on your homepage. I'm going to create an events page really quick so we can take a look at events and calendars. To create an events page, we're going to go right here to not linked. If we wanted it to show up in our primary navigation, say at the top, we wanted events right here, we would add it up here. We can go ahead and do that. We're going to click the plus sign to add a new page, and then we're going to take a look at the different pages we're able to add. You can come right over to events, and we're going to title this events. All right, it's going to pull up saying you have no events at this time. Fix that. We're going to add an event. So event title, event info. And just like a blog post, you can put in all your information right here in this window, and it has a bunch of different options for you as well. So we can go over here to options, add a thumbnail just like we would a blog post, add an expert if we want. We can make this a featured event and have it appear in summaries just like we went through on the blog posts. You can add the event location, different options for SEO, social, and sharing. So we're just going to go with the dates that it gave us, and we're going to save and publish. All right, so our event shows up here. I'm just going to duplicate this really quick so you can see what it looks like when you have multiple. All right, there you go. And so this page would just be a list of your events. Say you want to make this a calendar somewhere that is available for people to look at in that type of layout. That is really easy to do, and we'll just add it to the home page just as an example. You would pick whatever section you want that to go on, hit edit, hover over to add an element, click, and then you would scroll down to calendar. And we're going to choose here events, apply, and you see our events that we added in show up right there. Now I want to walk you guys through some e-commerce things. If you have a shop on your site, I'm going to add one really quick so we can look at it as an example. So no products here, click to add your first products. We're going to do that. It will give you a list of things that you can do. You can add in your pricing here, how many you have in stock, the weight. It gives you so many different options to actually add in the items that you're selling. You can see here you can do digital products as well. You can do services, you can do gift cards. It makes it really nice and easy. So we're going to go back to our original menu and go down to commerce. Here's where you can track orders, inventory, different customers, do discount codes if you need to, and also control things like your checkout process and notification processes. If you're using Squarespace to do some marketing, you can click right here on marketing and you can run your different email campaigns. You can do promotional pop-ups for lead magnets. All of that you're going to be doing right in here. One thing that you'll need to be doing is making sure that your domain is set up properly and also adding domains if you need to add things and redirect to your website. That will be right under settings and domains. So you can buy a new domain, you can hook up a domain that you already own, but you would do that right from the domains page, and Squarespace makes it really easy for you. While we're in settings, I'll walk you through some things that you're going to need to do once you take control of your site. You can go through each one of these things individually and just make sure that the right information is loaded. So you're going to want to set your time zone and where you're located. You're going to want to input all of your business information as well. This is where you would connect your social links so that when people go to this here, they actually get to your Facebook page or Twitter or whatever you choose to link for your social. Under permissions is where you would give someone access. Say if you had a VA that was going to help you with some things on your site, you would invite contributor, decide what you want them to be able to access, and go ahead and invite them to be able to make changes to your website. This is where you'll also set up your billing and account information. So you can change credit cards, you can view invoices, all of that stuff right through billings and account in settings. You can also check your analytics from Squarespace, see where your traffic is coming from. You can look at any Google search words that have been used to find you, look at your activity log. You'll get a lot of information here to track who's visiting your site and how much traffic you're actually getting to your site. All right, I'm going to leave you with some little tips and kind of words of warning on what could go wrong in your site. If you go into pages, and we go back to where all of our pages are listed, if you hover over a page and click the gear icon, it'll bring up the page settings. So these are settings that control that entire page that is available. You have general, you can add in more SEO information, which I highly recommend doing. You can have a social sharing image. This is for if you have a big banner on the page, like this background image, this is where you would load that. And then there's some advanced things, like if you have code that you need to inject or categories or tags that you want to add onto your page. I want to show you though some info under general. Here you're going to have your page title. This is what shows up at the top of the screen when you're on the page. The navigation title is what shows up in your navigation bar, and the slug is what shows up after your domain name. So if your domain name is yourbusinessname.com, this would be /events, and that's how you would get to this page. If you need to add or change anything, if you change this to whatever, and you have links and buttons on your site that were linking to /events, all of those links now would be broken. So just something to pay attention to. I would not recommend changing your URL slugs on any pages because it will break existing links. All right, I hope that was so helpful and helps you really navigate the back end of Squarespace and be able to utilize all the different functions on your site. As always, I am an email message away, so don't hesitate to reach out if you need help on anything, and I will be there to help you out. Hope you have a great day and congratulations on your new website.